So Goodatthisgame made a reaction video to my Napkins Monument video. The video used to say unbiased reaction, but he seems to have removed that part of the title. I wonder why. Also, I'd like to point out that he somehow managed to get himself ratioed through YouTube, which I didn't know was even possible by Newtonian physics, but based off all the other comments, I think he has some very good points to make. Originally, I wasn't going to react to this because, like, who cares, but there's a lot of misinformation in this video, and I feel like I do need to clarify some things.
He tries to insult Neptune's monument. This will be a really interesting video. Okay, so he actually admits that he patched Aqua's escape before it could release.
Yes, I did that from the beginning.
That he says this publicly in a video because on his Discord server this was a knife fight to try and get him to admit it. And
a knife fight to try and get me to admit it? Well, if all you wanted was a confession, you could have just, you know, scrolled up. It was at the top of the argument.
Here's some more information for you on that.
More information?
Me and Aqua both used alts. We both had the same number of alts.
You both used alts? Well, that's eye-opening to me.
Okay, I actually didn't know anything really on that. If Aqua actually did that, then that's actually quite a huge fault by Aqua, and that definitely puts him down a few steps. But like, there's a couple things that make this statement simply not believable.
Not believable. Well.
Oh, okay, so here we go. Here's one of the things. So Aqua, this is a huge issue, actually. Aqua's well aware of this and has been for a long time. But my escape that I'm going to release pretty soon also gets patched on V4. And he doesn't want to do that to me because he wouldn't patch out an escape before it was released.
But, like, why?
You mean like the guards would be watching the visiting system, the visiting process, which they definitely should be, and is not in any way an issue with the prison, and actually pretty standard protocol that
the handbook doesn't say the guards are watching.
Every prison uses, ever. Okay, but the Aqua has also confirmed many times that common sense takes priority well over what the handbook says.
Okay, so we've learned two important things from that. First of all, if you're wanting to learn how to run Neptune's monument, you should read the handbook, and then you should go to Aqua and ask him to clarify everything the handbook doesn't say. And then you should ignore the handbook when common sense makes more sense. In other words, the handbook is not common sense.
And it's pretty common sense that when the handbook says go to the control room, they're not going to go in the control room that watches the prisoner cell while you're going through the visiting process on the other side of this prison. They're going to go to the control room that watches that. It's just basic common sense.
But there's two control rooms there. So
you're saying that the stasis chambers that are meant to take you out of the control rooms when you're done being in the control rooms don't specify that you're supposed to use the stasis chambers to take you out of the control room when you're done in the control room to take you out of the control room when you're done in the control room. Again, that seems like pretty common sense that the only purpose that they possibly could have.
No, you're misunderstanding my point. My point isn't that it doesn't tell you when to use stasis. My point is that it does tell you when to use them, and it doesn't tell you to use them at the beginning. Any scenario where the guards have to teleport back, it tells you to use the stasis and then send the guards to the next location. It in fact doesn't tell you to do that here, and the only way that could be possible is if there was one guard in each control room of the two. This is why the implication seemed to be that 2 guards, 2 control rooms, 1 guard in each control room.
ZPI mentioned in V3 because there's a slight flaw in the handbook, but that doesn't mean that there's a flaw with the actual prison itself.
Yes, the handbook isn't related to the prison at all. Heck, I don't know why I even bothered mentioning all that stuff about the handbook being vague. I could just write that the guards are supposed to mine a tunnel straight to the cell, place an ender chest, and go AFK. I mean, the handbook's not important, and that's not common sense, so you shouldn't do it anyway. Why do we even have a handbook at all?
Doesn't make any sense or isn't actually targeted at the prison. It's just irrelevant.
No, but sorry, imagine if you're trying to run a prison and it just says place ZPI, and you're like, what's a ZPI?
Oh, Okay, you want me to go off about this? Okay.
Go ahead.
Temple of Ra. There's actually no handbook.
There's no handbook? Why, whatever could this video be?
So, no.
You heard it here first. No.
Is Arctic Bastion? Actually not sure about that. I haven't heard that argument before.
Argument? It's in the pinned comment of the video. Also, I don't mean to stress this to you, Mr. Common Sense himself, but come on. Guards in the cell room? That's common sense.
Elios Citadel. I was a live guard.
Yeah, a lifeguard who probably didn't read the handbook.
In Elios Citadel. Live guard. Watching Aqua, trying to find Aqua mine down, actually, because I sat there with F3 on and could not find him. Can't actually see him mining down because of the Elder Guardian cage and the Uno reverse guard.
Oh, is that so? I'm in Elios Citadel right now. I'm just gonna dig myself a real quick tunnel, just for reference, just so you know. It is, in fact, directly above the Uno reverse card. It's coming towards the Uno reverse card. I got on my pig, ignore the hearts. I was doing some testing earlier. I look in this quadrant, then I look in this quadrant, and oh! What's that? Whatever could that be? Wait a minute. That's not an escape attempt, is it?
But if the guards look up every half hour, then Aqua can just sit there while the guard's looking around, and then when the guard's done looking around, they log off, and Aqua can just, I don't know, enable TPS lag or something to stop the Elder Guardians.
Sorry, no, I know this isn't about the Neptune's Monument thing, where we're on a really long tangent, but TPS lag to stop Guardians while you're trying to mine. This is coming from the same guy who tried to stop ZPIs with minecarts.
Or crash the server once, or whatever he needs to do, and then just, mine down.
Ah yes, crash the server. You know Soda Panic? What? Well, I never heard of it.
That's not a flaw, that's a basic prison feature that makes it better. That's not a flaw, that's an improvement.
Well, I didn't say it was a flaw.
That doesn't make sense. Did you read your script?
Actually, I didn't have a script. I just kind of said what I was thinking, and it was funny.
That's an intended feature that makes the prison way better.
Well, yeah, it does make the prison way better, because without the end crystals, escaping is trivially easy.
Just because every prison uses it. Gaia's uses it, does that mean Gaia's is just horrible?
Well, kinda. That probably wasn't the best example there, but, you make the argument that every prison uses end crystals. Here we have the top 5 on inescapable.glitch.me. The top 3 of which do not use end crystals, and the bottom 2 do. Now, I'm not saying end crystals make a prison worse. I'm just saying that if you need end crystals for your entrance process to be safe, you might have made a mistake somewhere along the way.
No, you can't, because the guards would be watching, and...
Actually, no, they wouldn't, because I've read the handbook, and it doesn't specify that there's a guard here. One guard follows you, and another guard is in a separate control room, which is 30 blocks away. After you stasis back, they're both gone and never ushered to return to this location. So, while it could be implied common sense, I have no idea. I've literally had escape attempts foiled by not knowing what the handbook is saying. And you can say that's not a flaw because it doesn't make the prison less secure, but come on. At this point, why are we still making handbooks?
Kill checks aren't useless just because they're not necessary. They're there in case you bypass the first one. If you bypass the first one, then...
If you can bypass the first one, then why do you have the first one?
That's not useless, that's an intended mechanic there that makes the prison more secure.
It makes it more redundant. Goodness, I don't know if you realize this, but you could actually have a portal and a line of end crystals for a hallway, and then a pit with an end crystal cell, and that would be just as secure. Sure, you can bring items with you into the cell, but what are you gonna do? The guards are watching, like you said. They can suicide whenever they'd like. There's nothing less secure about that. All that this entrance process is literally just a path full of opportunities to escape.
Oh, that's a ZPI. Okay, using Spigot and having a ZPI when it was intended on paper isn't a flaw. Because...
Well, I mean...
So you're just fine. Like, it doesn't matter.
Then why is it there? Why is it there?
That's not a flaw. The prisoner can't be attacked when they're in end crystals.
Then why is it mentioned in the handbook?
Okay, suiciding is meant to patch escapes. That's the main purpose of suiciding. And it patches escapes the best. Why would you not use the best way to patch escapes? That is...
Because suiciding is kind of permanent. Now look, I know that suiciding all the time does make a prison more secure. However, it's kind of just pretty lazy. Remember the example I gave where there's a path of end crystals leading straight to a pit full of end crystals? Well, anytime the prisoner does anything, I can just say, guard suicide. Nothing's a problem. Was that a very cool prison I just came up with? Not at all. It sucked. It was super lazy. All I did was throw in end crystals and say suicide. Have I won the prison war? Or maybe, just hypothetically, are there better ways to make more reliable and endurable prisons? I didn't say durable, endurable. Like they could last for more than, 6 or 7 days.
That is obscenely stupid. What are you gonna do? Go over and kill the person?
Ah, yes. Oh, I totally forgot. There's only 2 ways to patch escapes. Suiciding and killing people. And clearly, suiciding is our only option. I didn't mean that like that. Sorry.
Or OP armor, or blocks, or ender pearls, or anything that could protect them in the slightest.
Well, see, good at this. If your visitor has blocks and the best armor in the game and end crystals in your visiting hallway, then maybe, just maybe, it's not a great prison.
Again, not a flaw. That's just the thing. Does not making the ban items yourself make it a flaw?
Well, a little bit, because officially speaking, the books in those shulker boxes are signed by Canadian, and I would personally never sign books if they were being created for Neptune's monument.
Okay, but that's again not a flaw. Just because they can't publish doesn't make the prison worse. That doesn't make the prison less secure.
Alright, so you seem to be confusing worse and less secure, and you've been doing this for a while. But there are other aspects that people like to appreciate in prisons that aren't related directly to security. I'd give you the Citadel as an example, but I know you don't particularly like that. Imagine the prison with the end crystals again, like I mentioned. But along with that hallway, there are 50 other rooms full of random redstone mechanical features that all try to work, but none of them do anything. One of them's a composter glitch that you can't get into. There's an alternative suicide button that doesn't work, but the main one does. There's a whole, gambling section, but none of those machines work, and so on and so on. Sure, the prison isn't any less secure, but with all those rooms and everything it attempts to do being designed so poorly, is that still an equally good prison to if none of that was there at all? I get that it's a little harder to see with the Neptune's monument example, but yes, having objectively useless mechanics because they don't work does kind of lower the quality of your prison, even if it's not less secure.
It's not a flaw. Still not a flaw.
Guys, it's still not a flaw. You just keep saying it. Sorry, I love how all of us are in silence. Me in the video, him in his video, and me in my video, all just waiting for this pearl to land. It's never gonna land, is it?
Okay, yeah, and ban items not working, that's a flaw, but guards not being able to get out isn't an issue.
Well, the guards can get out. Clearly, I was able to... Sorry, anyway.
By that logic, almost every prison's invalid.
So he's saying that because I'm saying the Fox ban couldn't physically be created, all prisons are invalid, just for context.
Any prison that uses a ban that's always on is invalid.
See, this isn't quite true, because there's a difference between a Fox ban and a Redstone ban. Using a Redstone, like say in Guy's Vault, the example he's about to bring up, means that you can place a repeater, activate the machine and get banned, and then use a ban escaper to get out. You can't use a ban escaper in this instance because the only way to give the Fox an item is to throw the item from your inventory. But you can't hold the item in your inventory. Also, how can you say all prisons are invalid this way? You know how many prisons use ZPIs for Outer Rings? Elio Citadel, Vault 69, Temple of Ra, Arctic Bastion, and the list goes on. If you do the counting, you'll actually see this really is one of the only prisons with invalid outer bans.
Okay, okay, let's talk about his escape then.
Oh,
let's
okay.
talk about his escape, okay? Okay, let's drop this to half speed. Let's go back by 5 seconds. Okay, nice creative mode, buddy, because do you have any idea how hard it is to get that exact, precise angle?
Actually, I do. Now, look, good at this. You're wrong for a lot of reasons, and it's funny most of the time, but I don't blame you for being wrong this time, because I do see the confusion. A few people thought I was in creative. So I still have the original recording, and as you can see in replay, it tells you every time you switch game modes, and at this point in the recording, I'm in survival. Then, I use a splash potion, which is one of the things that helps me get that angle, because I'm falling really slowly. Another thing worth noting is that when you throw potions at an angle forward that is either straight ahead of you or downwards, they don't deviate left or right. They go straight through the middle. And so that doesn't even need to be a factor. I already lined myself up with the right coordinates. In fact, I can teleport to myself, and you can see 98, as close as I could get to 0, 0 by just crouching and sliding on the block, so I can get between the anvils. Then we'll have to wait for it, but I traveled to about 2,100-ish. And this honestly took a lot of testing to get this precise angle. You will see that I do never switch my game mode throughout this entire thing. Alright, I'm gonna jump into F5. So I'm watching from my point of view in F5. The reason that it does look like I'm in creative mode is because I actually lined up the camera angles to make it look like I'm level, so I follow the camera. As you can see, I'm falling at a constant rate. This is the speed you should fall if you have slow falling. That is, unless it ran out, but I'm pretty sure that's slow falling speed. At terminal velocity, of course. It's about 1800 when I throw the potion, so if we look at the keyframes... Ah, yes. Oh, I got it. So I have a single keyframe at 2100, and the keyframe at the end is at 1730, and if I look up, Canadian should be up there a ways. You'll see that he's falling at the same rate the entire time. And I'll actually play the recording in video, so that you can see. I'm slowly going up at this point. I hadn't got the camera in sync by this time. But I think at this point it should turn to the side, and then we'll get the angle you see in the video. Right about here. There we go. Oh yeah, perfect. Yeah, no, I usually record at a lower FOV. But yeah, as you can see, when the camera's not moving, Canadian is falling. If the camera was moving, like it did with the replay, it looks like I'm not moving. I don't blame you for not understanding that. It really did look like I was uncreative. I'm just explaining myself. No, I had to pull this off in survival, and this took, I think, 4 tries in the recording to finally kill the fox. So you're right, it's not easy to get, but that's why I spam potions, so that I can get basically every Y level, and that's the only deviation that matters, because they never go left and right.
You used a wither cannon. You didn't even use a wither drill. You straight up used a wither in a flying machine. That is hard universal.
Yeah, I wouldn't say hard universal, because the actual design for a flying machine that I used was literally created for the specific purpose to be able to chip 3 blocks, and that's it, out of a pyramid-shaped building. That's all it can do. It was designed specifically for Neptune's monument, and in fact, if it was a straight-up wall, a flat wall, it wouldn't have worked at all.
There's no defense against it being universal.
Well, aside for, like a wall.
Watch this next clip. Look at that. You see that? He used a wither to blow a hole in the roof.
Yes, because there was a single layer of crying obsidian defense. So I used the minimal amount of wither attack to break just a couple blocks, and that was enough.
He used a wither to break past it. That's not a prison side flaw, that's using a wither to break into the prison.
Now, if you don't want to patch it, that's fine. If you want to ignore it, that's okay. I don't get to decide what you take seriously and what you don't. And you can tell yourself whatever you want, but don't try and tell others that that's not a prison flaw. It kind of objectively is a prison flaw, whether it's possible to fix or not. And it is possible to fix.
You're fighting against wither there, and withers they're intended to lag anybody that comes over, so if you have a bad PC, you won't be able to record the escape.
Oh, what? Oh, these anvils? No. We didn't use them for withers. What withers? What? I've never even heard of those. No, these anvils. Yeah, they're used for lag. Yeah, withers.
You can just wither straight past them. It just takes an extra couple seconds.
See, you say this, but it's really tricky to wither through a slope of anvils. I've tried. This one's actually hard. That's why I used my much simpler and more efficient method of designing a flying machine.
But nonetheless, that's still not a flaw, in all actuality.
In all actuality. Take notes, prison builders.
Okay, I have 2 things to say about this. One, Aqua says stuff like that all the time. You can't really take anything that he says on Discord seriously.
Wait, say that again?
Aqua says stuff like that all the time. You can't really take anything that he says on Discord seriously.
Oh, that explains so much.
So, you're trying to say that it's bad that they tried to use withers for an escape? Wait, didn't you escape every good prison using withers? Is that hypocrisy? Oops!
Okay, wait, alright, sorry, first of all, about the oops thing, it's, with no personal attack, it's kind of funnier when I say it, and it's also not funny when I say it, so maybe just don't at all. Also, you can't Uno reverse card hypocrisy like that. Alright, okay, as an example, imagine, like, I'm sitting next to a vegan, alright, and they're eating meat, and I'm also eating meat, and now, we're doing the same thing, but one of us is clearly not doing something right. So I look at the vegan and I'm like, why are you eating meat? Like, aren't you against that? And they look at me and they're like, what? Is that hypocrisy? You're eating meat. Like, the issue is that Aqua has a thing against withers. It wouldn't be hypocrisy if he wasn't calling me out for using withers. You can't switch up hypocrisy like that.
Also, this is barely a wither defense. If anything, this is just a mining in defense.
What? Now these things that we put 22 blocks away from our band defenses, those are this is a mining defense, yeah. Withers? I don't. What? What are you talking about?
Actually, the first layer, the anvils aren't even wither defense. Like I just said, they're supposed to cause lag. And these are more of a mining defense than anything else if you somehow disable the chunk bans.
Oh yeah, you know those anvils we put there for lag, and those that mining defense that happen to be two of the most secure wither defenses in all of Minecraft. That's just a coincidence. I was really just trying to lag out their game, so they were trying to mine. Also, wait, he just said this is a mining defense in case you disable the bans. Good at this. If you can disable the outer bans, then it's not a good prison. And if you can't disable them, then why is there a defense?
Because they're not valid. That's just a blatant fact.
Oh, shoot. Oh my gosh. He's right, isn't he? This whole time. All this argument, I should have just realized. It's just a blatant fact. Withers were never valid. Huh.
Wait, but didn't you just use the exact same insult multiple times again?
Got him. Oh, I just got burned.
Oops.
Stop. Wait, I'm playing that one back.
Oops. Oops.
Oops. Oops.
Oh yeah, you're right. They are biased towards him because...
Sorry, okay, wait. Forget his argument for a second here. I never noticed this, but Zephin... What's this redstone doing? Sorry, alright. Continue.
Why would they be biased towards their own prison builder? ZFM is a highly respected prison escapist, and he's really good at what he does. The reason why his escape is valid...
Okay, wait. Listen very carefully. He's about to explain the reason the escape is valid.
The reason why his escape is valid, and Aqua accepts it as valid, is because he did it and it's actually valid, and he's an actually good escapist.
So, the reason this escape is valid, to break it down, first, because he did it.
Is because he did it.
Second, because it's actually valid.
And it's actually valid.
And third, because he's an actually good escapist.
And he's an actually good escapist.
Now, I do understand that he's not reading off a script. This is live reaction, which, fair, but you're not really arguing anything. But no. I do agree with you, good at this. Zephan is actually a really great escapist and a well-respected member of the community. In fact, I wonder what kind of insight he had to put on the
Unlike you, just because you're bad at escaping and couldn't make a good escape doesn't mean that there were bias to the only person who's actually made a successful escape.
Couldn't come up with a good escape, eh? Wait a minute.
Okay, portals, half-patched, agreed, and exploit ignored, they're not ignored, guards would be watching, as you said yourself, withers, ignored.
Yeah, but if your excuse for everything is the guards would be watching, then you kinda just ignored the problem. You'd be one of those weird people who, like, area bans the end or something. You could do what LFV does, that's fine. You could do what Elio Citadel does, disabling the bed, although that's a bit scuffed. I actually wouldn't recommend that, but there's a lot of solutions that aren't the guards would be watching. Because, again, if you use the guards would be watching as an excuse...
Withers, ignored. Actually, they're not ignored, as you said yourself, they're just not valid.
Oh my gosh. He just ignored Withers.
Respawn exploit at first kill check. Actually, no, that's not unpatched. Hey, fun fact, did you know that that was never valid in the first place? Because from V1, it said in the handbook that the guards would be watching.
No, the handbook didn't say where the guards were at all. And also, good at this, you're trying to debunk me on an escape you haven't even seen. You can't tell me this is valid when you don't even know what the escape was. And I can guarantee you, at least in V1, that the guards weren't watching. I ran it over with Aqua, and he confirmed it was valid. That's kind of the reason they added a patch to it.
You literally proved 3 of these points wrong.
Skip.
Saying that it's less decorated than Arctic Bastion. Are you trying to say that Arctic Bastion isn't well decorated?
Yes.
Because that thing is definitely decorated.
It is definitely decorated. Yep, you're right. There's a bit of a difference between decorated and, well decorated.
Alright,
I'm gonna skip over this. This is just good at this basically not getting the joke.
Again, a flaw from Aqua, actually.
Yes, he is correct. Neptune's monument is a flaw from Aqua.
So, every prison? Pretty much? Okay, let's look here at prisons that actually came up with something good.
Oh, okay. So here we have a list of all the top prisons. I guess I'll start a ways down. Neptune's Last Wave. It was the first to use nether kill checks, making it so that you were completely safe by the time you got to the overworld, as well as a few other things with observer walls and stuff. I don't know. I didn't look at it all that much. Vertex's Vault. Let's see. It used player detectors for the roof, one of the first ever, although I guess Erebus may have been first, but Erebus was a different story. Arctic Bastion. It was one of the first prisons to have a way to detect if the outer bands were disabled and enable an inner ban, either that or the crash machine. The crash machine was also an original idea, as well as the idea of the really long hallway for the cell. It was not the first to have one cell for several prisoners, but it did it in a unique way. The Pyramid. It was the first to use bubble columns as an outer wither defense. That, well, it didn't work very well, but it was pretty revolutionary. Austria Citadel, I don't know much about, but I hear that it has a unique roof detector. I genuinely can't say much for that, so I don't know. Vault 69, it had so much. The first to use ZPIs both for an outer ring and the inner area. It was the first to use the 2x2 end crystal cell that so many use now. It was the first to use bubble columns as a roof defense. Not to mention, it had its own really efficient end exploit patch, which is the fact that you can see when the pressure plate's activated. Temple of Ra obviously has the Among Us Shrine. Gaia's Vault, oh, that was a plethora of things. I'm not even going into that. You know what Gaia's Vault was. Kojin's Hearth was great too. It had a lot of things. It had one of the first 1 block wide pumpkin pilus composter glitches. It had its roof defense, which I guess wasn't revolutionary, but it was nice. It has 4 portals that are connected to an actual 8-bit signal sender thing. I don't know, it was really complicated. 8 different portals for 4 different cells for visitors and prisoners. And while Kojin's Hearth didn't come out before others did, I know it was the first prison to use a machine that physically blocks the portal with netherite before you log back on, into crawl mode of course. Not to mention the way it uses composters in the walls to increase the composter range, which is a really niche feature that I don't think anyone else has even considered. as well as using the nether roof for part of the cell. Oh, and it had its own detection system, which technically came out before Arctic Bastion, to detect if the outer ZPIs were disabled, and activate the Fox Band in the middle. Raven's Coffin, that had a ton of stuff! It had the TNT dispenser for the cell, so you didn't have to make a regen cell. It had its firework kill check, which is that revolutionary, but let's see. They're first to use anvil walls. It takes advantage of that nether roof in a ton of ways. It uses snow for a floor detector. That's never been used before. It also completely defends against portals strictly because of that feature below, and also being on the nether roof. Naturally makes it immune to chorus fruit. Avatar took advantage of a lot of features and came up with some pretty original ideas. Elio Citadel, oh, how can I even get into that one? Having a 5-layer cell and still be a secure cell. Version 9 pending. It implements nether kill checks in a unique way. It has the Elio's Auto Panic, the second ever relighting trap portals, a system that lets you manipulate the prisoner's respawn point to get them into different cells or different rooms. That's never been done before, as far as I know. And the iron bar hallway so the guards can get around where the prisoners can't. The first ever end exploit patch, which frankly is scuffed, but it still works. And its combination of the bubble column defense and a normal roof detector. Not to mention the Uno reverse card. Come on! Honestly, if I really try, the best I can say for Neptune's Monument is I guess it had a different band for the cell as for the entrance process, which I guess is relatively unique, but I really can't give it all that much. Editor note, just to make a point here, which will help explain what I say at the very end of this video, I want you to notice the trend that as I go higher up the list of better, quote-unquote, better prisons, the number of unique and original ideas they try to put out and change the prison meta, then the number of unique things that they do goes higher and higher, the better they get, the higher up the list they go, with the one exception being Neptune's Monument.
First off, we've got, obviously, Pandora's Vault, because it started off. Okay, then...
Skip!
Because it's not humane. You have to ban the entire prison every, 30 minutes.
Oh, wait. Sorry, what? You have to ban Elio's Citadel every 30 minutes? Look, okay, so good at this. I know you don't read the handbook, but where did you get banning the cell every 30 minutes?
Every single cell. That's not humane at all. It's just a slightly larger cell.
Slightly.
Well, not slightly larger. It's a larger cell. That's nothing.
I'd like you to see to make a cell the size of Elios and still work.
What are people in the comments gonna say? Cogent Earth, Crisp has admitted in DMs with Aqua, and Aqua has screenshots that I've seen of Crisp saying that it's bad. The only innovation...
Oh no, prison builder calling their own prison bad. Well, guess what? Elio's Citadel is bad. Avatar has laughed at Hell's Tomb, and Raven's Coffin. Of course, I'll mock the Pulsar as much as I can. Def has admitted and laughed at flaws in Gaia's Vault, because some of the best prison builders can usually recognize that there's still a lot of work left to do in their prisons. Crisp, I know, is a genius. They know how to make an incredible prison, and I know they do. Coach's Hearth was meant to be built in the same format of others, and it does an incredible job. Personally, I'd put it above Elio's Citadel. Just because she says it's bad doesn't mean that it's validated. I don't know what your argument is here.
Even though this doesn't use that, even though you're saying that it uses all the best technology.
Right, sorry, I shouldn't have said that Neptune's Monument uses the best of each technology. It uses technology, kinda.
What technologies exactly do you expect it to develop that's...
I don't know. I mean, maybe you could find a way to patch the stasis chamber thing. I actually haven't seen a patch for that before, but if you did manage to do that, then you wouldn't need the end crystals. Perhaps you could come up with a patch for light suppression, which allows you to unload a squilly bed and make it so you respawn inside the boats. Frankly, there's a lot of work to do with the wither walls. I can give you a few tips if you'd like. Point is, come up with whatever you'd like. It's your prison. You do the innovating. Come up with great ideas. I know you can.
Takes everything that's good and puts it to something. That's what 99% of prisons do.
No. 99% of prisons will take existing technologies and then add their own input. Make it their prison. something that is identifiable. The issue I had with Neptune's Monument is not that it's not secure, but that it kind of reminds me of those random prisons I get asked to see all the time. As an escapist, a lot of people will come to me and ask me to check out their fan-made prisons, and I'll give possible escapes, and the arguments they'll always give is, oh yeah, the guards would be watching. And I say, well, why do you have me trying to escape test if you're just going to use that as your solution for everything? And that's exactly what Neptune's Monument is. So I don't see why it's getting praise above other things when it's sort of, as Mithridax said, just a remix of other existing prisons.
Again, you're using an insult that you already used because the prison's good. You're just salty you can't escape, so you had to make this video.
Good at this! Good at this! You can't say I'm salty and couldn't come up with an escape. Literally, do you know what video you're watching? Have you looked at the pixels on your screen, buddy?
Okay, not a flaw.
Still not.
Okay, not a flaw.
You just keep saying it. Nothing's a flaw in this man's eyes.
That is actually a flaw.
Oh. Okay, sorry, I stand corrected.
Oh, wait, is this gonna be... Oh, it's not a prison? What do you mean it's not a prison? This didn't make sense in After Bastion's video either. Because, like, you...
Okay, sorry. So first of all, I'll get at this. This is a joke. It's an attempt at, comedy bronze, I guess. And also there is some merit to the reason I call it not a prison, because assume that the bans don't work. Obviously the guards aren't online for the majority of time, so you've just got a massive, super expensive pile of crying obsidian that no one would ever build, and pretty much anyone can go straight to the cell, and nothing really matters, and there's kind of no stakes to being put in. It's just kind of a big box made out of blocks, right? Not a box, a pyramid. But if you assume that the bans do work, then first of all, the guards are going to have a really long time trying to figure out the handbook. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't blame them for giving up. Second, your prison's only going to last for, until the next server restart when it crashes and the auto panic causes the prison to be permanently banned, meaning years of effort are put into building this thing, which only lasts for, maybe 2 days at most. I guess, that doesn't really make it not a prison, but, okay, again, it's a joke. Please.
Is that supposed to insult Cauldron Redstone?
Yes! Because I don't care how good your prison is, I don't care how secure, how genius, if you use Cauldron Redstone, I will never take you seriously.
Good, and there's nothing wrong with it at all. The alternative is redstone block and slime blocks, which is actually bad and not good.
Oh, shoot, it's bad and not good? I mean, if you'd like to add a whole full-on bucketed cauldron next to comparator to redstone that was originally designed to make it easier to send signals, straight up or down, then go ahead. But I don't see what's bad and not good about pistons. If it's quasi-connectivity, that's really not as big a flaw as you think it is.
Again, your point just doesn't make any sense. Did you read your script?
It wasn't a point. I was just laughing at cauldrons.
And now here comes the part where I say my last remarks to this, which is that
I'm about to get burned.
Monument actually recently reached 1,000 views. Now on Canadian's escape list, it has to be at 1,000 views, and then he has to escape this along with a couple. Either way, he's supposed to escape Neptune's Monument right now because he doesn't actually have a valid escape. Neither of his escapes right now are valid. The one where he used signs and he specifically actually said that that's just not valid. Oh, wait.
When did I say it wasn't valid? What? When did I say my... Okay, I'm confused.
Explain how it's invalid. Not the one where he used withers, which are universal, and he also explicitly stated why it's invalid.
No, wait, sir, where did you get at this? Where did I say it was invalid? I have Neptune's Monument marked off on my escape list.
So he has to escape it, but again, there's screenshot evidence that I have seen with my own eyes that he refuses to escape Neptune's Monument.
Right. And there's a few reasons for that. First of all, like you said, according to my escape list, one of the requirements is that it needs to get at least 1,000 views. Another one of the requirements happens to be that it must be possible to build in survival. So, technically speaking, it doesn't have to go on the list. It's really just there for courtesy. Although, yes, I am currently accepting it, because I don't take the fact that the Fox bans are not survival friendly as that serious of a point. But my other reason is because, I've kind of already escaped it. And look, I know I've used withers, and withers seem to be controversial, but to me personally, and to a lot of other people, whether escapes are seen as valid, and since there's no authoritative figure that determines which is the truth, and it's really just a community of people with differing opinions, I don't see what has to change. This is my personal list, and by my personal definitions of valid, I have come up with a possible escape in survival that one could do to break into Neptune's monument. So, I personally have no reason to escape it again. Also, I've demonstrated a couple escapes in the video that you've watched. The reason I make escape videos usually is to demonstrate some new technology, something worth watching. Have an entertaining, worthwhile video for casual members of the prison community as well as serious members. So frankly, while I have escapes for Neptune's monument, it's just not worth doing again when I already have. Now, I don't know why you want me to escape so badly. I don't know if it's because you want desperate justice, or you just wanna call me out for not liking the escapes that you have been given, which sorry, I guess, or if you just want attention. I'm not accusing anything. I don't know why you want me to escape so badly.
Not because it's bad, not because he's already escaped it, but because he just can't. Because he's not a good escapist, and Neptune's monument's too good for him.
You heard it here first. Neptune's monument is simply too good for me. Goodatthisgame said it, so it must be true. That's not gonna age well. I'm gonna get a lot of DMs from people wondering why that's my status. It's fine, it's gonna be funny. So I'll give my closing remarks too. Goodatthisgame, I do get that this is your first reaction to the video, and you are young, and I do understand why you weren't able to get this, but there's deeper messages to this video. It was made for satire. If you read between the lines, you can kind of pick up on that message. The point of what I was saying is that the reason that I make these kind of videos making fun of prisons is to show that there's still a lot of work left to be done. I mean, I could make a video making fun of Helio Citadel. There's a lot of flaws there too. I don't necessarily mean this as an attack towards Aqua, not a call-out, but possibly a criticism, just to say to everyone out there, there's still a lot of work to be done on prisons, because even some of the highest-ranking ones still have a lot of flaws. And our goals for making better prisons keep changing, because we want to keep improving. If we stayed in the box that you have clearly defined for yourself, that box of any escape that I can't patch doesn't exist. Withers, they will never be valid. Anything that doesn't directly increase the security of the prison is not important. Anything that makes it more functional, more efficient, more long-lasting, or cheaper, that's not important. All that matters is it's more secure, and anything that we can't think of a patch for, we'll treat as not. If we stayed in that boundary of goal sets, the prison community would be over. Like I said, give yourself a functional roof detector, a functional floor detector, a functional portal detector, and some walls, and your mining defense, of course, since that's important. Give the prisoner a portal to squilly into the cell, and give the visitor a hallway made strictly of end crystals that leads into a pit with a cell of end crystals. If the visitor does anything, suicide, and that's it. Is that a great prison? It's just as secure, if not more secure, than Neptune's monument. But it's really not good. And we can do better. We can make it nicer. We can make it cleaner, more polished, less dependent on guard reaction times, less dependent on suicide, not dependent on end crystals, or even guards watching the cell. Heck, there's so many changes we could make. The prison I'm currently working on, the guards never even have to go near the cell to know it's secure. There doesn't have to be a roof, and the prisoner can get all sorts of items. And no, I did take the TRM, guys. Calm down. It's much simpler than that. Whether it's more or less secure than anything else on the current list of top prisons, I'm still trying to make it better than anything ever has been, because I'm putting my goals higher and higher. Well, what I'm pointing out is that it seems like Neptune's monument is keeping with the goals of the past, that all those other people that showed me their prisons have been doing. And to personify it, I guess personality lacking prisons, that while decent on terms of security, is still just not worth praising. It's questioning why Neptune's monument, of all these bland prisons, is getting praise for something it doesn't seem to have accomplished. I hope that hasn't been taken too much as hate. I think Neptune's monument is is a prison. I will say that. I'll confidently say it is a prison. I retract my statement from this video. There you go. And honestly, knowing how stubborn both of you are, I don't expect you to get much out of this. I don't think I've taught you anything, and probably all you got out of this is probably just me saying Ilios Citadel is bad, and therefore, Neptune's on top, whatever. If you do choose to react to this, I'll probably watch it, genuinely, because this video was hilarious. It was fun to watch, but I'm not going to respond. I don't want to waste my time with calling me out and trying to accuse me of, well, practically nothing. And although if you do attempt to misquote me again or spread lies about a few things that I know aren't true, like you have in this video, then I may have to take action on. That was very not cool of you, because whether or not this was a first reaction, no script, you should know what is true or not, and not try to accuse people of things they haven't done. So Good at This, I hope you enjoy your day, and to Good at This and Aqua, who's newest member of our ban list, I do hope you enjoy your ban, and Good at This, I really don't appreciate you trying to log on to my server again, breaking several rules at once, trying to evade a ban, and insulting and harassing several of my server members and close friends. So yes, I do think your ban was very well deserved, but yeah, I'm pretty much done conversing with you in total. I frankly don't care about Neptune's monument as much as you think I do. It's just a meh prison in the back of my head. I'd like to move on to better dramas, foreshadowing for main channel, but yeah, that's it. See ya!